Oh, yeah, we're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And you've just crossed over into the trend zone. Casey here with Dave. We are the football dudes. Dave, are you ready, bro?
Oh, yeah. You got that right, my friend.
All right. Our next stop is the trend zone. It is Saturday, August 1st. We're coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Hey, Dave, it's a blistering 95 degrees up in the Sherm. What you got on the west side?
Ooh, it's hot. 73, but cool breeze taking care of it there. So it's pretty nice.
Nice. I love it, man. Oh, we are getting into the midst, Dave. It is the preseason just around the corner. But
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me, you brought the Nugs like you're in mid-season form.
Oh, yeah, dude. Lots of turnover in the NFL, which stands for not for long if you're a coach or a coordinator. 10 new head coaches heading into this season, 21 new offensive coordinators,
Oh,
16 new defensive coordinators. That's insane, man.
man, you got to turn it around quick. All right,
Yeah.
speaking of turning it around quick, we're going to run the peoples through a preseason primer, go through all 32 teams. So we are highly caffeinated and we are going to churn through these. We're not going to dive super deep, but we're going to give you all the info you need to get started, Dave. No place better to get started than the defending world champs in the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks. We had questions about them going into last year when they brought in Sam Darnold. How did that work out?
Worked out pretty well for Sam and for the Seahawks, obviously, as you mentioned, winning the Super Bowl there. Pretty impressive. They had moved on from DK Metcalf and Lockett, and hey, that worked out pretty good as
Mhm.
well. We saw JSN take that next step and elevate his game. This team, it's loaded. Lost a couple of guys there, including obviously the Super Bowl MVP there, running back Kenneth Walker III. But this team is definitely one of the most loaded teams, especially on the defensive side under McDonald there.
Yeah, see if they can bring it home to Seattle one more time. We're going to
Wow.
see those guys open the season on a Wednesday. Extra tasty. All right, Dave, another bird team in the NFC West. Not so hot, the Arizona Cardinals, but there's a little optimism there, I suppose.
Yeah, well, they got Brissett finally, gruntled with a new contract there. He's going into the season as the starter. They have Carson Beck as a possibility there, as well as Minshew. They got to work out that quarterback situation. Brissett was pretty good for them last year.
Mhm.
He played most of the season, really. But they bring in the new blood in Jeremiah Love, and that's the thing that's got pretty much the most excitement attached to it. And also the new head coach, Mike LaFleur, coming over from the Rams. He's coming off that McVay tree. And so
Yep.
you can expect the offense to look similar to the offenses of McVay and Shanahan, that whole side, that whole type of offense.
Speaking of Mix, McBride had an awesome year last year at tight end. Marvin
Awesome.
Harrison Jr., not the best year. See if he can step up and get that camaraderie going with Brissett. All right, Dave. Our Los Angeles Rams, if all the pundits out there are correct, these guys have already won the Super Bowl. It's just semantics until we get back to the SoFi in February.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about McVay and what a great strategist he is as a head coach, and they certainly have, as an organization, seemingly put the chips in the center of the table going into this offseason. Obviously, trading for Miles Garrett, um, and also trading for McDuffie from the Chiefs, as well as signing Watson from the Chiefs. So they've remade that secondary back there, and the talk of Aaron Donald coming back is giving
Ugh.
people chills, especially offensive linemen. um, Stafford had a phenomenal season last year. This was the team, if not for the Seahawks, that was the closest probably
Mhm.
to winning the Super Bowl last year. And if this one is in SoFi, they're looking to get there and take care of business.
Yeah, last year Stafford had the back injury leading to the season. Didn't seem to hamper it all.
Yeah.
18th year, but they get Ty Simpson at the front of the first round. A great situation for him just to chill, learn from McVay and Stafford. Good stuff moving forward. All right, Dave. San Francisco 49ers, dude. Injury plagued all last year. Brock Purdy got the huge deal going into last season. Somehow they made it to the playoffs with all those injuries. A little
Amazing.
healthier this year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, CMC obviously, healthy. Fred Warner coming back into the mix there. Yeah.
Bosa.
Bosa coming back into the mix on that side of the ball. They acquire Mike Evans, the receiver, who's had 1,000-yard season 10 or 11 years in a row before coming short last year. They bring back Debo because, of course, Pearsall, just as we just heard, is going to be having to have a surgery and miss the season. So they had a lot of change over there, but bringing Debo back is a fan favorite, as well as somebody that knows that system and they know how to use him, and also drafting Dejon Stribling there. So they've remade that whole unit. Luckily, they had Mac Jones on the squad last year, carried him through the injury-plagued portion of Purdy's season. But if these guys, I mean, they seem to already be snake bit with the injury bug, but can they stay healthy? If they can, they're going to be right there in the mix.
Yeah, dude. Kittle missed some time last year too with injury.
Yeah.
Him healthy going into the season. We mentioned Mike Evans, awesome. And then they also trade for Osa Digizua from my Dallas Cowboys and Grayson Halton. This is a name for a rookie to look out for. All right, Dave, let's go to the NFC East and start with the team near and dear to my heart, the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Well, obviously last year, Pickens went completely nutso and got himself a new contract. Oh, no contract, Casey. I'm going to kind of defer my time to you a little bit on this. Go ahead and take care of the business.
They went ahead and put the tag on Pickens. He's going to make about $28 million. They said right away, we're not going to, negotiate the contract. So he came in and he seems pretty gruntled. He's been at camp. He missed some voluntary stuff, but he's there, and they look to pick up right where they left off. Going into last season, there was the Micah contract issue hanging over. That's not going to be an issue. They go out and get Christian Parker from the Philadelphia Eagles, elevate him to the defensive coordinator, be first time calling plays with the Dallas Cowboys, but I think that's going to be a good thing. Obviously, last year, the defense completely atrocious, one of the worst in the history of the NFL. So they go in, they draft Caleb Downs, which I never thought he would fall to the Cowboys. They kind of rebuilt the whole defense. So starting back there, they go out and get Jalen Thompson. They trade for Rashawn Gary, also bringing him over from the Packers. Barham, the linebacker out of Michigan. So they moved on about 70% of this defense. So I think there's nowhere to go but up if the defense can just be middle of the pack with what we saw out of the offense last year.
Awesome.
It should be something pretty special. Dak in his 11th year, he's fired up. I'm so stoked to see what happens for these Cowboys.
Yeah, it's going to be if that defense can just play at, in the middle of the pack in terms of NFL defenses, because we know what the offense can do. And it's going to be exciting to see all those new pieces on defense and the new coordinator.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the New York Football Giants, also with a new head coach.
Yeah, that would be John Harbaugh, and he's coming in there, and there's a new sheriff in town, that's for sure. We'll see. Last year they were an exciting young team on defense for sure, a nice front seven there with lots of talent, and I think that's going to continue to be the case this year. Banged up last year with Scadaboo hurting himself and Neighbors missing a majority of the season, let's say, as well as the quarterback, just needing to know how to protect himself from those type of hits, the concussion producing hits. You can run the football as Jackson Dart, but you can't take those hits in the NFL. So he's an exciting young player. If they can get some of those pieces back, Malik's not ready yet, but
he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah.
And Dave, in that draft, they Arvell Reese falls to those guys. They never saw that happening. You mentioned a young defense there. Yeah, this playmaker there. It's a good place to start with Harb. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to those Giants. They were in a lot of close games last year. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. They came into last season as the defending Super Bowl champs. They made a return to the playoffs, but that wasn't good enough to keep everything status quo.
Yeah, they made a tweak for sure at the offensive coordinator position, bringing in Sean Mannion. He's new to the situation there, and he's bringing in a new style of offense. It's going to change up a lot of what Jalen Hurts is used to there. Obviously, big offseason story was sort of remaking that receiver room. moving on from A.J. Brown, who was just done with their situation, frustrated, and wanted to move on. They draft Mekhi Lemon, who's got a ton of upside, bring in Hollywood Brown. So, they've really reshuffled the deck there. They brought in Dobbs, right?
Yeah, from Green
So,
Bay. Yeah.
right. So, whole new look there to the offensive receiving group, and the offense itself is going to have a whole new look.
Yeah, Smith is going to be the number one there. And then on the defensive side, Jalen Carter gets the huge deal. I'm going to see if that cat is motivated. I'm not sure what the work ethic is like off the field. I guess we're going to find out. Dude got paid. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move it on to the Washington Commanders. 2 years ago, NFC Championship. Last year, not so much.
Yeah, it was tough with Jayden Daniels. I mean, that's one of the things about him that we knew was when he's on the field, he's electric, but he's a little bit of a thinner body, and he's a running quarterback. So he was hurt most of last year. That really hurt these guys. They did discover the late round gem Krosky Merritt at running back there as a nice guy to team up there. And he really did produce quite a bit. Rashad White, they bring in as well as a guy that they're looking to tandem up with him. So who knows if they'll acquire Brandon Ayuk or not? I wouldn't count on that one at this point in time. But they did draft Katron Allen, right? That dude, he's gonna make an impact, I think, right away.
Yeah, it's all about Daniels' health there in Washington. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move to the NFC North. Start with the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears there.
Okay, they're the Bears. I'll tell you what, they did have a really impressive season last year under Ben Johnson. They rebuilt that offensive line, and it actually really paid off for them. They got Caleb Williams to be playing more in control and in the system, and the system was a good one that Ben Johnson brought over from the Lions there. So they got a nice young group of tight ends and receivers with Odunze and Luther Burden there as the wideouts, and then Colston Loveland and Komet as the tight ends. It's a very talented group there. These guys are getting a lot of hype right now, and I would say deservedly so.
Yeah, they were one of the most exciting teams to watch last year. Just a handful of plays away from going a little bit deeper into the playoffs, see if they can build off of that. All right, Dave. This team took a little step back last year. The Detroit Rock City Lions, 2 years ago, everybody's darling. Last year, they fell off a little bit. Maybe that was no Ben Johnson and losing Aaron Glenn on defense, but I fully expect these cats to be back in the mix this year.
Yeah, there also was going into this year, there was some turnover on their offensive line, and that offensive line was a really, really strong line a couple of years ago when they were very successful. So we'll see how that new line can come together and block it up for Jahmyr Gibbs there. They bring in Pacheco as well, another physical type of back. So now they have sort of a thunder and lightning kind of pairing there. But of course, Gibbs is the main dude there. Also last year, Laporta was banged up quite a bit, so they're hoping to get Laporta back in full go. If they do, there's going to be, as you mentioned, there's tons of talent with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. There's guys on that offense that are going to be exciting. Can that defense, put together a nice season? And if so, then these guys are going to be right again in the mix right there.
Yeah, with the healthy Hutchinson, dude, the defense is a whole different deal there. All right, Dave,
Yep.
Speaking of trying to get healthy, the Green Bay Packers, man, they fought through a ton of injuries last year, and some of those are going to roll into this year as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think last year they were expecting to get a bump out of Golden, the wide receiver. He was a little less than they had hoped for. They kind of gone through a lot of wide receivers there, moved on from Dobbs, as we mentioned earlier. Watson's awesome when he's healthy, but they trade for Micah Parsons, as you know too well, and he obviously gets hurt. He's not going to be available, I'm guessing, for at least the first 4 weeks, maybe 5 or 6, and it's all up in the air at this point. So at least, though, I think the first 4 weeks is kind of locked in there. And when he gets back, this is still an exciting football team. So we'll see.
Yeah, they didn't win a game after he got hurt last year.
Oof.
And another player coming back into the mix on offense, Tucker Kraft, the tight end,
Oh
having
yeah.
a nice year before he got hurt. So he's going to make a big difference on that squad too. Okay, Dave, the Minnesota Vikings, man. Kyler's got me excited. What's got you excited about these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be obviously this is Kevin.
It's Kyler's job.
Yeah, okay. I was
Give
going
it
to say
to
this
him
is
now, Dave.
But he didn't have a great season. It didn't end very well for him in Arizona. And Kevin O'Connell has got a reputation as a dude who is a quarterback whisperer, whatever you want to say. Kyler has gotten the wake-up call that he was the first overall guy and all that. Did he put enough into it? Because I know Kevin O'Connell is going to challenge him. But yeah, he's in a battle against JJ McCarthy. We both assume that Kyler's going to get that job. Jefferson, Addison, Juwan Jennings, who they bring in. I mean, this is an opportunity for him. This is a really good football team if he's playing excellent football.
Yeah, they won 9 games somehow last year. That Brian Flores defense off the charts too. Got some interviews for some coaching jobs, but decided to stay put with the Vikings. I'm excited to see Kyler with these offensive weapons, man. We will see what happens, but man, that is going to be a brutal division. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move it to the NFC South. Start with those Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, they move on, and in the coaching ranks, this is one of the teams with a new head coach. Kevin Stefanski comes in after doing some great work, even was coach of the year, I think, at some point in time at Cleveland, which is hard to put those things in the same sentence. But
now you're just making stuff up, Dave.
I know. I'm hyping this guy. Maybe with some quality quarterback play, we shall see, though, at this point.
What time is it, though, Dave?
It's Tua time, Casey, or is it Michael Penix? Well, Penix isn't ready yet, and Tua had a little back issue. We'll see. Is there going to be a quarterback competition here? Is it or is Penix not going to be ready to compete in time? And there, in fact, it is Tua time. There's some talent here. London and Pitts, the tight end, both guys are on the team for a good spell now as they've been paid up. And we've got, of course, Bijan Robinson, who is probably the most explosive, exciting player, but certainly also running back in the league.
Yeah, they just got to get some consistent play out of the quarterback. And if so, see what these Falcons can do. All right, Dave, Carolina Panthers got hot down the stretch. Exciting, man. Everybody was throwing dirt on Bryce Young, and it looks like he's starting to play a little bit better football.
Well, no doubt about it. Along the way last year, the consistency in his game, came up, and Tedero McMillan, the rookie, had a lot to do with that because that guy's a gamer. But Ike Ekwonu, Taylor Moton, these are guys that are going to be part of the mix there. Trying to, you have to protect Bryce. He's not the biggest quarterback in the world, so you got to take care of that dude. And we'll see. They won the division last year in this one of these wide open divisions. I mean, most of these divisions are pretty hotly contested, but this one seems winnable, for this Panther squad.
And they bring in Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. And Dave, last year going into the season, they had high expectations for Jonathan Brooks, running back out of Texas. He gets hurt in the preseason. They expect good stuff out of him. So it'll be interesting to see if the Panthers can take that next step. All right, Dave, another team pretty hot down the stretch, the New Orleans Saints last year.
Yeah, really hot down the stretch. You're right about that. And it's Kellen Moore's second year there. And really along the way, they found their quarterback in Tyler Shuck. Is it Tyler Shuck? Anyways, Shuck, right? He wasn't the guy at the beginning of the season, but as they got hot towards the end, he was playing some really good football. Olave just got a big contract there, extension, so good for him. There's no doubt drafting Jordan Tyson. They're excited as can be about that guy coming in. They acquire via free agency Travis Etienne, and yet they retain Kamara on a reworked contract. So that's a nice 1-2 punch, a little less work for Kamara, but maybe more effective as that other back. So this team is definitely heading in the right direction. Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator, maybe he's got something up his sleeve down there as well.
All right, Dave, the Tampa Bay Bucks, they were right in the mix last year, but Baker going into the season a little saltier than normal.
Yeah, that's because he obviously feels that he should be compensated more along the lines with the upper echelon of quarterbacks rather than where he is right now with sort of the middling level of quarterbacks. He did fight through injury because he's that kind of guy. Playing banged up is not anything new to him. He's not the biggest dude, but he does throw his body around and make plays for the team. So I would have liked to seen him get that gig, but hopefully, if he has a great season, then they'll end up keeping him anyways there. This is a tough situation though. They do lose Mike Evans at the receiver position, but Egbuka, was an awesome rookie receiver last year. And they got that going with Godwin and McMillan. So a lot of talent on that side of the ball. Bucky Irvin had a shoulder issue, and I'm still a little concerned about that.
Yeah, they also Tez Johnson showed some signs when he was healthy too. You mentioned Bucky Irving. So they bring in Kenneth Gainwell, who had an awesome year with the Steelers last year. So they're bringing him in to replace Rachaad White. But a lot of weapons here. It is going to be weird with no Mike Evans, but should still be plenty enough for Baker. And you mentioned Egbuka, dude, made some incredible plays last year. Very polished. The Ohio State pipeline of wide receivers, dude, is just incredible right now. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and flip it over to the AFC. Let's go ahead and start in the West with your favorite team, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos are coming off an awesome season. Obviously, they were the number 1 seed there. Didn't quite get there due to Bo Nix's ankle. Kind of derailed their season right there at the end, and that was a crazy winter's storm situation that also kind of conspired against them. They did want to increase the weaponry there, and they got that going with Jalen Waddle on board. They also bring in from the UFL Hakeem Butler, who's a big body receiver. Cortland Sutton obviously was their go-to guy, but now I think you got to really be nervous about trying to double team anybody out there with that speed that Waddle brings. They got a nice deep running back room. RJ Harvey was the draft pick. They have J.K. Dobbins as well. They brought another guy in as a rookie this year as well.
Jonah Coleman.
Right. So they're looking to, Sean Payton, he's got this team poised and ready to go. They won a ton of close games last year. Will there be a regression to the mean? That's yet to be seen.
Yeah, and the word out there is right now Peyton and Taysom Hill are talking. Taysom Hill, the multifaceted usage tight end out of the Saints, maybe looking for reunification with Sean Payton. Reunited and it feels so good, maybe. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move it over to your favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Whew. Yeah, well, last year obviously was the first year they didn't win the division and or make the playoffs in a long, long time. Mahomes, they were still in the mix, I think, kind of midway, 2/3 of the way through the season when Mahomes went down with his injury that knocked him out for the season. Then backup Minshew went down pretty shortly thereafter, and so did their season. This year they bring in OC Eric Bieniemy. So there's a new flavor there, but it's the old flavor from before. He's well respected within that organization. They bring in Kenneth Walker III from the Seahawks. They're trying to really bolster up that run game. The interior of their offensive line is excellent. They still have had some issues with the tackles. We'll see if that's worked out or not. And then, of course, we wonder about Rashee Rice. He's their best receiver. He could be suspended. We'll see if that works out for some of the off-the-field issues that he's had. And Xavier Worthy has proven to be effective when healthy, but
a little banged up already in camp this year, man. A slender build, man.
right. So he brings the 4.2 something speed, but if he can't stay on the field, then that's going to be obviously an issue.
And if Mahomes isn't healthy to go week 1, Justin Fields coming over, I might have to see him for a couple of weeks. So you never know how that's going to go. I'm assuming if he does play, they will run the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, let's move on. Your favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders. They have a new look as well.
That's right. Obviously, this is a new quarterback situation, and new head coach there, right? Cubes. It's Clint Kubiak this time, but he's coming in there from Seattle, and he's got some wizardry, new offensive ideas, and they draft, of course, the number 1 overall selection, Fernando Mendoza. They want to put him on the shelf so he can learn as they put out Kirk Cousins. They got him on a pretty clever contract. So it's sort of like 20 million this year, 20 million next year. So Cousins is going to make his money. And they can also move on from Mendoza towards Mendoza at some point, probably this year. They brought in Tyler Linderbaum, though, at center at an exorbitantly high $27 million per year contract. Obviously, they're looking to stabilize what was an underperforming offensive line and give somebody to really run the show there. On defense, bringing in Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, Kwity Paye, bringing back Max Crosby after the trade went through. There's some talent on that side of the ball. There's no question about it. And on the offensive side, back to the offense real quick, we know how awesome Brock Bowers is, and Ashton Genty going into his second season. Maybe he'll have a little more success behind a little bit improved offensive line.
Yeah, can they get enough production with what they have at receiver? I think that's part of the reason also Cousins is getting the nod, but ease Fernando into there. All right, Dave, I was just kidding about all those favorite teams. It is your real favorite team.
That's right.
Our Los Angeles Chargers. React.
Yeah, third year of Harbaugh, and the Chargers won 11 games each of the first 2 and made the playoffs, and then exited out in the wild card round. In each case, the offensive line was terrible. Last year, the injury bug hit the offensive line exorbitantly. It was ridiculous. Big changes here are obviously bringing in Mike McDaniel as new offensive coordinator, replace Greg Roman, and a whole new offensive scheme, the zone running scheme, the quicker passing scheme. It's looking like Justin Herbert with his new footwork is going to be quicker to get the ball out, looking for more yards after catch for the weapons. Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey look to really move ahead. They've revamped the tight end room as well, bringing in David Njoku and signing Kolar from the Ravens to be a blocking asset there. They brought in Alex Ingold, the fullback. So they're really working this offense around McDaniel's vision. On the other side of the football, most of it is continuity from a very good defense from the last 2 years, but they did lose coordinator Jesse Minter to the Ravens. He's their head coach. They brought in one of his disciples, Chris O'Leary. He's running the exact same scheme with the same players and the same coaching staff. So looking for a lot of continuity there. Mesidor, the draft pick on the defensive side, they're looking for him to really produce. Back to the offense, though, one more thing. I'm really excited for Omari and Hampton. I think that behind this scheme, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the top running backs in the league.
Yeah, dude, and this guy's a little under the radar. If you don't watch all the games like we do every weekend, maybe no, I'm not. Keaton Mitchell, dude, brings an element that was missing from this team explosion out of the backfield. This guy is lightning quick. And, dude, Brennan Thompson, man, this guy is a big play waiting to happen. You're starting to see the different layers that they can attack you with. So I am super excited for this McDaniel offense moving forward, expecting a lot out of the Chargers. All right, speaking of big expectations, Dave, AFC East, Buffalo Bills. We went into last season saying, is this their year? And Dave, we're going into this season saying, is this their year?
Yeah, last year ended a little controversially as the interception, completion that kind of lost that game right near the end against the Broncos for them. Maybe that was their year, but this obviously it was McDermott who took the fall there, and they were able to elevate Joe Brady, to the OC to now be the head coach. So there's tons of continuity there. We'll see what kind of tweaks he puts on it, because McDermott obviously was a defensive guy. So Brady, assumingly, already had the offense running exactly how he wanted it to be. But they bring in DJ Moore to pair up with Keon Coleman, who has been a little underwhelming in his 2 years as a high second-round draft pick there. They're as excited as could possibly be about this new stadium that they're going to be debuting, I believe, in weeks 2 and then 3 against my Chargers.
Yeah, defensively need a little work. They do bring in Bradley Chubb, and it looks like they might have lost Gardner Johnson for the season with an Achilles there. I haven't heard confirmation, but when you see it, you're like, maybe so. But hopefully that's not the case. But, man, the Bills keep knocking on that door. Can they get through it? All right, Dave, a team I don't expect to compete this year, surprise me, are the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a ton of turnover.
But hold on. Last year going into with these Dolphins are make or break year for McDaniel, Tua's health, and Tyreek Hill.
Okay, so no on all of those, right? So
Yeah.
McDaniel obviously is out of there. He's been replaced by the defensive guy, Halfley, from the Packers there. His health was an issue last year. He was at some point unhealthy and or benched due to performance. Tyreek Hill obviously hurt and no longer actually currently in the NFL right now. We'll see if he can find a home if that knee comes back for him. This is now Malik Willis's team, who in spot duty for the Pack played exceptionally well after not doing all that well with the Titans for a handful of years there. They still retain Devon Achane and have Gordon there at running back as well. So those are the pieces they kept. They lost a ton of other guys, namely we mentioned already Jalen Waddle is gone. Their receiving group is sort of nondescript. I don't want to be insulting, but there's not names that most people would know. And this team has also got an unbelievable amount of dead cap going into this season. I think it's somewhere over $100 million of dead cap out of a $250 million salary. So yes, rebuilding year for sure. We'll see what they can do. This might be a team that's I don't. We'll see if they can grow during the course of the year with Halfley and Willis. That'll be some. That they'll need to take steps.
Achane gets the big deal in the offseason. Jordan Brooks gets the big deal just a week or so ago. So, some young talent there. Love Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. So there's some young pieces there, but definitely, Dave, a team in transition. All right. A team that made that transition all the way to the Super Bowl, the AFC East or AFC champions and AFC East champions, the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and obviously last year, was a big year for Drake May. In his second year there, he was in the MVP conversation, right down to the wire. Vrabel has got that team going. We'll see if any of the off-field distractions have any impact on Vrabel. I doubt it. They definitely, have new talent there with AJ Brown, Romeo Dobbs coming in. So at the running back position, Travion Henderson joining Stevenson there. That is a really nice tandem there, as Travion had some big playability last year that we saw.
And in the postseason, this defense got even tighter and stingier. Incredible run really helped carry them, especially against those Broncos, holding them to just one score in that whole game. All right, Dave. The New York Jets, man, it's been the same old Jets, but I think everyone outside of Jetville even was completely stoked with what these cats did in the draft leading up to this season.
Yeah, and it's weird because it seemed like they had a pretty good draft a handful of years ago, and one of the things that they did was trade away Sauce Gardner, and that gives them an extra number one then and in next year's draft as well. So, yeah, they've done a great job. No doubt, Aaron Glenn could have been a one and done, so he's on the hot seat heading into this season. They've really reworked the offensive line. They have a nice tandem at running back. This team has talent. Brees
Hall.
Yeah, and Braylon Allen. Thank you. Yeah, those guys are awesome. Bringing in Kenyon Sadiq to go with Mason, the tight end tandem now. That's two first and second year guys. That's going to be super exciting to see what they can do. And they added, obviously David Bailey there to see if they can really get that defense going.
Yeah, and Omar Cooper, they get him at the tail end of the first round. They thought they'd get him. It might have to use that pick. They got Sadiq with him. And then Adonai Mitchell came over in the Sauce Gardner trade last year. Didn't really get into the flow a whole offseason with him. Geno coming back where it began with all this experience. This will be the best squad that Geno's ever had too. So there is reason for optimism in Jetsville. And if it doesn't work this year, they got all them picks for next season too. So a great spot for the Jets to be in. All right, Dave, AFC North, man, this division looks completely different, starting with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and it starts on top as if one of the most tenured head coaches. They move on from John Harbaugh. They bring in the Jesse Minter, the up-and-coming defensive coordinator that was putting together the Chargers defense over the last two years. One of the brilliant minds. He's in that same Mike McDonald for the Seahawks defensive scheme. They were both interchangeable parts there in Michigan and Baltimore previously. On offense, they bring in Declan Doyle, who's doing some new stuff there with
Popeye's girlfriend.
No, this is Declan.
Oh, that's
Doyle.
olive oil.
Yeah,
sorry. My bad.
Yeah, he's got some new schemes for Lamar, having him under center a little bit more. We'll see how that works out. Jackson was banged up. He had a pretty tough season last year with injury wise, and obviously though they still have King Henry, and so. That's a huge bonus on that side. He does not seem to be slowing down. He hit past, he smashed right through the age barrier of 30 for running backs. On the defensive side, they were pretty lousy at some point last year because they were so banged up. But when they did get some of their guys back together, they were able to get it going. They tried to swing big and get Max Crosby. That trade fell through due to the injury situation for Crosby, and so they pivoted excellently and brought in Hendrickson, the edge rusher from Cincinnati. And obviously they've got a talented defense there, namely Hamilton out of Notre Dame, one of the top safeties in the league. And this type of safety that is Emunwari, Derwin James, Hamilton, this is the safety, the wild card kind of guy that a lot of these defenses are really exploiting. He's going to have a great season.
Yeah, Roquan Smith still doing it at a high level. And let's not forget, as bad as it was for these cats, especially injuries most of the year, they were a missed field goal away from going to the playoffs. So, but, we know what happens when you miss field goals. Just ask the Buffalo Bills about that. Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals. Slow start last year did them in. They've been so banged up. Can they keep Joe Burrow healthy, and have they done enough on defense?
Yeah, all good questions. I think they've missed the playoffs 3 years in a row with a quarterback that most people would think is certainly a top 5 guy. It's hard to keep him out of that list, somewhere in that range, no doubt about it. Can he stay healthy? If so, him and Chase and that receiving group are just absolutely unstoppable. They were putting up 30 plus points a game and still losing games. So they had to get that defense right. They've added a ton of pieces to it though. So
Sexy Dexy up front,
right.
baby. I love that. They trade the top draft pick for him for guaranteed production or established production, maybe not guaranteed.
And Jonathan Allen as well as Boye Mafe. So just they need to bring the level up to just average, and then they'll be able to score those 30 points and come away with a win rather than lose 34 to 31 or something.
All right, Dave. The Cleveland Browns, also a new head coach. Seems like the same old Brown story, although pretty sexy draft for these guys too. But what are they doing at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean that's the big question. They bring in Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator there. So now he's the man, and it's going to be Sanders versus
Gabriel versus Watson
and
versus
that doesn't,
whoever the hell is there.
Right. So if you have multiple quarterbacks, do you really have one quarterback? They want obviously someone to win that job by week 1. That's what I heard. So
that's
okay,
a bold strategy, Cotton.
Right. I don't understand why it does seem to be Dylan Gabriel as sort of the odd man out here in terms of the competition, even though his numbers statistically were better than the other quarterbacks that played last year. But they did rebuild the front, the up front there, the line, and so. They got Judkins, the running back rookie last year, looked really good to go along with Sampson. Harold Fannin, the tight end, who had an exceptional year as a rookie last year. Bringing in Denzel Boston and KC Concepcion have reworked that receiving group. So there's a lot of exciting stuff there. They did move on, KC, from Myles Garrett finally. But they got back Jared Verse, so they give away, I think, the best pass rusher in the NFL, but they get back a guy that is a lot younger, a lot cheaper, and still a very effective player.
Yeah, and they also use the first-round draft pick on Spencer Fano up front, the tackle there. They bring in your guy Zion and Jenkins too. So trying to rebuild that offensive line. So we'll see if it works, but it's going to come down to the quarterback play for that one. All right, Dave. Last but not least in this division, the Pittsburgh Steelers, dude, or is this the Green Bay Packers? What's going on here?
Yeah, well, Rodgers got this team to the playoffs last year with Tomlin, and Tomlin stepped down. He said it was time had come, and they bring in some people were uninspired by the pick, but it's McCarthy, who oddly enough was Aaron Rodgers'
Pittsburgh
coach.
native.
Right. And that's right. And Aaron Rodgers had his most success under McCarthy when they went to the Super Bowl there. So Aaron Rodgers reacted the way they had hoped, I think, and really embraced the idea of reuniting.
Slammed a bunch of shrooms.
Went into a dark room and came out happy. Yeah, last year it was Metcalf, and it didn't seem like anyone except for Gainwell, the running back that Aaron Rodgers really trusted. So therefore, they added Pittman to this offseason. There's a couple of O linemen that they brought in. The defense has got, I think, a handful of high paid. We'll see about the productivity on the edge rushers with Watt getting a little older, but they have Hightower and Herbig there. So pretty expensive group there. Let's see if they can get some good productivity out of it.
Yeah, and Jaylen Warren, a little banged up last year, very productive when healthy. Enrico Dowdle coming off a real nice season with the Panthers in the mix there, running back for these Steelers. So it's a weird mix there, aging, like you said, at a lot of different positions. But that division seems like it's up for grabs. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move it to the AFC South. Start with the Houston Texans, man. This defense was getting 85 Bears talk at the end of the season, and they were just incredible. Offense has some issues, though.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The offense was an issue last year. Mixon was the kind of the back that they had targeted as their, main back, and he really didn't play a single snap for them. No. So this year they bring in a similar kind of a guy where you think he's going to be a sledgehammer. It's David Montgomery. And at receiver, Tank Dell back, hopefully healthy. Nico Collins kind of went through a couple of health issues last year. So CJ Stroud, they've got his fifth-year option picked up, but the jury is still out on Stroud after a fantastic rookie season. He certainly has the talent, but he needs to just become a more consistent guy running the show back there. His playoff performance really not all that, just seemed like he was out of sorts, man. But the defense there, obviously, you mentioned it. This team can win practically any game by just putting, double digits on the board and let that defense go do their thing.
Yeah, dude. Will Anderson creeping up there, one of the tops in the NFL on defensive side of the ball. But this will be they'll go as far as CJ Stroud can take them. Hopefully he's got the next step. All right, Dave, the Colts last year, dime bag Danny Jones comes out of nowhere to lead them to an 8-1 record. Everything's going great for the Colts. He hurts his leg, and then they fell off a cliff.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Shane Steichen had this offense absolutely ripping, and Daniel Jones, healthy, was playing the best football of his career without a doubt. Unfortunately, it was an Achilles, which is a pretty tough one and pretty far along into the season. They still have Anthony Richardson on the roster, but I think he's just trying to play so that they can find a spot, maybe that they can move him along the way, because nobody really wants him at this point in terms of the value, proposition for this Colts squad. But
Cat started like 7 college games. I don't know what these guys are expecting. He needed to watch instead of being thrown right into the mix.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They were able to get Pierce the big payday he wanted, and unfortunately that kind of meant that they were going to lose Michael Pittman along the way. Westbrook Ikine comes in to sort of fill that void. So, and last year, what a season for the rookie tight end Tyler Warren, man, fantastic.
Time. And your guy Jonathan Taylor was mowing everybody over last year, and this guy was a little bit underused last couple of years at Oklahoma. Deion Burks, healthy. I think he can add some nice play for these Colts in the slot. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and move this on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, baby. Had made that progression last year. They got to take the next step. Looks like they got the pieces to do so.
Yeah, I mean, this team, I think they're maybe being underlooked a little bit. They were a 13-4 squad last year. Liam Cohen really getting the most out of the quarterback there.
Golden boy, Lawrence.
The golden boy, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, than we've ever seen. The consistency and the playmaking, with the combination of receivers that going into this season with Jacoby Myers coming in on board, and then Thomas. They draft, of course, Travis Hunter. He had an underwhelming rookie performance. I don't know if they're going to feature him on offense or on defense more so. We'll see about that. But yeah, this is one of those teams. I think it's kind of sneaky low on the radar right now for most people. But I mean, 13-4 is a really good record.
Yeah, dude. And we saw that consistency out of Trevor Lawrence get there. If he can add to that, what's he done this offseason? It'll be exciting to watch. He's another year under Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
I'm excited for these Jags this year. All right, Dave. The Tennessee Titans, man, they drafted Cam Ward last year at the top of the draft. He had some issues, showed some signs. Not a lot of talent on this team last year. They go out and get Robert Saleh to bring that defense to a team that was already pretty good defensively, but what are they going to do on offense?
Yeah, well, they drafted Carnell Tate to get things going and give a nice weapon to Cam Ward there. They have Pollard and Spears. The running back tandem is in place. That was there. So they brought in Wan'Dale Robinson, who's an ascending receiver as well. So we know what Saleh can do on the defensive side of the ball, and he's got some real good talent as well there, bringing in Franklin Myers, also Jermaine Johnson, a former first rounder there. So plenty of talent on the defensive side for Saleh to mold. We'll just see if the quarterback Cam Ward can take that next step forward with some of the new talent that he's got around him.
Yeah, better offensive line play, better talent around him. What's Calvin Ridley got left in the tank? Can we see a full season out of him? He's shown in flashes that he can be the dude, but consistency all the way around needs to be for these Titans. Dave, holy smokes, bro. We got it all done under an hour. That's why you lift all them weights, baby. That's why you hydrate and stretch.
That's right, man. Wow. That was a blitzkrieg through the league there. I hope the people appreciated it. It's going to be an exciting season with so many teams with legitimate hopes.
Oh, yeah, we're all undefeated, and this thing is just getting started. And the football dudes will have you covered all season long, all through the season, into February for the Super Bowl. Don't want to get there too quick, Dave. It feels like, you know what? Feels like it's slipping away. So many ways to check out the football dudes. The TrendZone, what you're listening to now, is available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Instagram and Facebook, follow us on X at Football Dudes LA, and make sure you tag us across all social media platforms.
And while you're out there surfing on the interwebs, go ahead and bookmark the footballdudes.com. That is going to do it for this episode of the TrendZone. We're not Seuss to talk football. We're the dudes that know football. For Dave, I am Casey, and we are out of here.